Welcome back to another Reading and Correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and I, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. And if you are looking to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today, we are doing chapter 48 of The Technician's Fight. The door buzzed as Jeremy put his shirt on. A tap on his tablet opened it. Opened it. Come on in, I'm just about ready. He grabbed a new jacket and threw it on, turning to exit the bedroom and stopped. Tom and Zen stood in the opening looking at him. That's not going to work, Tom said, displeased. He wore pants of an almost sheer material that, when folds created shadows on it, let him see the fur it covered, as well as enough hints of the cock and balls that he didn't know what his friend's private part looked like, even if they weren't intimate. Yeah, Zen said, stretching the word. You can't be seen with us covered in so much clothing. His friend wore... What are you basically not wearing? Jeremy asked. The only piece of fabric covered his friend's genitals, but in such a way he might as well not have anything on. The fabric clung to it, taking on the shape of the balls and cock. You like? Zen turned. It was held in place by a strip that went between his leg and in his ass crack, covering what was there, but also pushing the cheeks apart. The string around his waist, keeping both from falling off, was more noticeable there. Aren't there distraction laws on the station? Isn't that going to land you in a cell? The distracting parts are covered, his friend replied smugly. Jeremy pointed to Tom's pants. The current fold caused shadows. I think this should have a... Fold cause shadows, only letting him make out the bottom of his balls. That can be argued as being covered. Yours is basically painted on. That wouldn't be accepted, Zen said. The Federation requires even ceremonial attire to be attire, regardless of how we would do it on Kelsir. Ceremonial? His friend nodded. Yes, this is the ceremonial attire to attend Denirag's ceremony of joy. A ceremony to the Kelsirian god of pleasure is taking place on the Federation station? In Kelsir Space, Tom said. Not that it matters, Zen added. The Federation respects all species god-related ceremonies, so I can wear this. That doesn't even qualify as wearing anything, Jeremy objected. On a station, so long as I am heading to a related ceremony. And people throw ceremonies to Denirag on a station where other species might walk in? Or is this a private thing? It's very public, Tom said. Denirag isn't particular about who takes part, Zen said. Or what? Or that they don't, or that they even, or that, or if they even know they're taking part, Tom added with a grin. You said we were going dancing, and dancing will happen, Zen said. With you saying it's for Denirag, I'm suspicious of the kind of dancing you're referring to. Dancing is dancing, Tom said. You know, bodies pressed together, rubbing against each other until the song's climax. And after. No one needs to break apart just because one climax has happened. Okay, you two are definitely talking about sex. No, we're talking about dancing, Tom said, grinning. In a club that will have music with the speed and intensity you like. Let me guess. A leisure club. The Federation doesn't recognize Kelsirian designation, Zen said. Jimmy looked from one friend to the other. You two are so planning something, he sighed. But I agreed, so I'm not backing out. Good. Tom said, walking past him. Zenny, get him out of those while I print him something more appropriate. Hey! Jeremy protested. I didn't agree to a change of clothing. You want to be dressed appropriately for the club, Zen said, hands roaming on his chest and shoulders, pushing his jacket off. Don't you? He rubbed his muzzle against Jeremy's cheek and the rest of his body against his front, fingers unbuttoning the shirt. You wouldn't want to offend my God, would you? I don't even... Jeremy, panting, kept him from finishing. Jen licked his neck. That's the spirit. Let that egg fill you. Don't overdo it, Tom said. Remember, he needs longer to recharge than we do. But he can stand so much more teasing until that happens, which is going to be more interesting to watch at the club. Opaque. His friend Jeremy managed to squeak as Zen slipped in his pants. He dreaded the idea Tom would put him in something like what he was wearing. I can do opaque, his friend replied. Zen pushed Jeremy back, who tripped and fell on the bed. As soon as his feet left the floor, his pants were pulled off. Somehow, his shirt was also not on him anymore. You know, he might be more appealing to the crowd like this, Zen said. Jeremy lifted his head and glared at his friends over his erection. But then we'd need to arrange for the people at the club to come here, Tom said. I'm not the one trying to convince the captain to let those strangers on the ship. You are his best friend, Zen said. That's not enough to get him to agree. He handed Jeremy pants. Put that on. They were light gray and loose, so he sat on the edge of the bed and put them on, standing to raise them to his hip. They're too loose, he said, holding them up. Tom took hold of them and batted his hand away. I'll take care of that. Just need to make sure everything is arranged properly first. Jeremy eeped in surprise as his friend cupped his balls and pushed his no longer softening cock against his stomach, then removed his hand and the pants tightened. Fuck! Jeremy swallowed as the pressure around his cock and balls. Oh, the pants of fertility! Zen exclaimed. I would never have thought of those. For fertility? Jeremy's voice rose as the pants did something that made his cock vibrate. That's going to keep him nice and presenting, Tom said. I fucking swear, Jeremy panted. If I end up in a cell, I'm going to make you two pay. I'll cover it up, Zen said, so that's up to station code. Jeremy groaned. You realize I'm going to come the way this is going, right? Nah, this is made to keep you at the ready until the females present themselves. I'm not. That's the ceremonial use for them, to ensure a family is large. There won't be any female over you here. Oh, there will be over him, Zen said, chuckling, but they won't be expecting to be impregnated. The shirt was just like the pants, and Jeremy eyed his friend suspiciously as he put it on. It wouldn't close in front, and instead of tightening, it seemed to be so loose the lightest motion caused it to flutter in exposed skin. At least let me put my jacket on. I'm going to freeze in this. The stations kept warmer than the ship, Tom said. Most species prefer temperatures around the ones you're comfortable at. Zen pressed himself against Jeremy's hands under his shirt, and I'll keep you warm until then. There's no fucking way we're making it off the ship dressed like this, with your hands all over me. Jeremy pulled the boot close with a foot and slipped it in, daring his friend to protest. Once he had the other on, they left his home. The club wasn't as loud as Jeremy expected for being off the ship, but it was busy and... You said this wasn't a leisure club. A lot of the people weren't wearing anything. I said the Federation doesn't recognize Kelsirian resignation, Zen replied, grinning. This is a pleasure club. Zen, I didn't agree to sex with... He motioned to the other species. You aren't here to have sex, his friend said. You're here to have a good time, whatever that looks like for you. I'm going to be having sex, a lot of it. No, not as much as him, Tom said, but that's also part of my plans. He motioned again. Kelsirians for me, Tom said. Whoever's willing, Zen said. If I'd known, which is why we didn't give you details, Tom said. Look, there are no Earthers on the station. I checked. This is a cross-species pleasure club. That means that other than forcing the other to participate, you can do whatever you want with whomever you want. Just let loose and have fun, Jer. Even if it just means dancing for you. At least here, you'll be able to exhaust yourself. I am so making you both pay for this at some point, Jeremy grumbled and stepped deeper into the club. His friends followed him a few steps, then Zen moved to a Radoshi. Not long after, Tom ran a hand along the side of another Kelsirian, and they were moving together. Left to himself, Jeremy found a printer located in a column and cursed. He'd again forgotten to bring his recipes. He found something without alcohol among the selection of Kelsirian drinks. As much as he might be able to benefit from alcoholic courage, he was worried that would end up being the courage to dump his friend and run back to the ship. He studied the people moving to the music while drinking, trying to work out how to start. He'd read up on Federation species enough he could recognize them, and each was distinctive enough he would have told them apart even if he had known their names. What he hadn't looked into was what each looked like naked. He had looked into Kelsirian after Bob signed up on their ship, and it was clear the relationships there were sexual as well as business. Their genitals were surprisingly Earther and Kelsirian-like. A penis for the male, a vagina for the female. Males were larger than either species, so they were bigger there too. Jeremy had felt nothing when looking at them. Jeremy had felt nothing when looking at the images. Now, looking at all those species, he found he was curious about the differences. At a glance, the Hornian, Quercetorans, Kelsirians, Shimbarian were the most similar to Earthers, although he'd have to wait until he saw an erect Shimbarian before he could tell with them, comma here, comma, since they had a sheath covering their penis and it was attached to their stomach. Jeremian had a similar body shape but lacked genitals the way Jeremy recognized them. What he read about them placed their physiognomy closer to plants than animals. They ate but needed unfiltered light to digest their food. The Redoshis were the most alien to him, looking more like insects than anything he could identify. As such, even watching them move together with nothing covering their carapace, he couldn't identify anything that might be genitals. The Saladins were featureless as well, sexually as far as he could tell, even if their body were much like his otherwise. He couldn't tell if the color of their skin, as the group danced, was because of the colored lights or their emotions. The how to join the dancers was taken care of for him when scaly hands moved from his shoulder to his chest, the Tahonian pressing against him, getting Jeremy to move along with the music. Then they were facing each other, moving closer, then further and closer again. When he was away, a Shimbarian moved before him. The male pressed himself, and after checking his previous partner was dancing with someone else, he moved with his new one. There was a lot of undulating and dancing with Shimbarian. There was also a scent, not unpleasant, but strong to the point of being pungent. Jeremy had a sense of what that meant when the male moved onto a Shimbarian female and she buried her muzzle in the long fur with an eagerness he responded with by pressing against her and thrusting. Jeremy looked away and found himself dancing with a group of Kelsirians who nuzzled and licked his exposed skin. One even reached into his pants, and Jeremy came. He'd been kept primed by the thing. Then he needed a rest, which they accompanied him to. The rest wasn't overly restful, but he certainly enjoyed their company as much as they enjoyed each other. Once he got his breath from that, he was back on the dance floor and found himself between a pair of Quercetorans who sniffed and licked him. They said things he didn't understand in tones he did, and also made clear by the erections pressing against him. He declined their invitation in Federalese and wasn't sure they understood since they kept moving with him, but they eventually moved on. Alone, Jeremy let the music take him. It was a fast rhythm with a beat that matched his own and drove him along as it sped up and slowed. When he noticed he wasn't alone, it was a group of Saladins, their skin multicolored as they threw their head back and screamed. He wasn't sure they were even aware he was there. With one of the slow pieces, Tom found him and they danced, rubbing nuzzles against cheek, whispering promises and threats that had Jeremy shove the Kelsirian against a column and made good on one right there. Then they were dancing again until the music was too fast for his friend. He danced and rested, danced some more, rested again. He had sex with some Kelsirians and offers from every compatible species, and he thought Aridoshi, but while it said things that as they moved together, its translator was more garbled than words. When he walked off the dance floor for what he decided was the last time, he found a Kelsirian-designed couch and fell into it. Not long after that, a Kelsirian was there too, and before he protested to the roaming hands and tongue, he realized it was Zen. His friend was undulating over him when Tom joined them, and they enjoyed each other's company for a while, then lay together until a loud piece came on, and they agreed they had had enough. Leaving the club proved harder than walking to the exit. They had to cross the dance floor, and someone kept trying to pull one of them into dancing. Then, when they finally made it outside, they were laughing, and his friends needed to hold onto the wall while panting. "I'm still going to make both of you pay," Jeremy promised. "Oh, I certainly hope so," Tom said, grinning. "I don't think it's going to be as fun." "Don't think it's going to be as fun." "I don't think anything can be as fun as that," Zen said. "I have not been taken in so many different ways in years." "What about you, Jer?" Tom asked. "I smell Shimbarian on you." He laughed. I had a few dances with them. One was very forward. I had offers from just about every species, only excepted Kelsirians. As flattering as it was, I can't say I'm interested in them. "You have no idea what you're missing," Zen said, grinning. "That's okay. My friends and shipmates are plenty for me." They headed off, stopping at food kiosks to try what was offered. It was a rare time Jeremy saw his friends eat things that weren't prepared chunks of meat they speared with a claw. Meat on bones that reminded him of chicken, but denser. Meat floating in broth. His friends made game of trying to claw, while Jeremy drank the liquid until he could tip the bowl over to get the meat. He had no idea where they were on the station in relation to the ship when a female called out in a derisive tone, "So, you are still using your cock to get people to like you." They turned and Zen lost all his jovialness. The female wore pants and a vest in gray, like the two males with her. "When Father told me you'd be on the station, I didn't believe him." Okay, I think I know how he reached that conclusion. When my father told me you'd be on the station, I didn't believe him. After all, the wretch of a female that your mother isn't here. Didn't anyone tell you me and her parted way years ago? Or is your father so out of favor with your Halanos you didn't hear the Tal's gossip? What's what you say about our father, wrinkled cock, the male on her left said. "You need to get a brain augment," Zen replied. Your insults suck worse than you ever did." He turned. "Come on, they aren't worth our time." "Don't you fucking walk away from me, Xenial Okalan." His friend froze. When he turned, Jeremy saw an expression he'd never seen before. Restrained anger. "Be very careful how you address me. Arianikal Daramal Talhalan. I am family, that I be a Tal on a Tal ship or not." She snorted, and Jeremy interposed himself. "Okay, that's enough. You're insulting my friend." "What kind of animal did you fuck?" she'd ask in disdain. "Maybe we should break it," the male to the left said. "See how the Ock likes it. Then tell them that if they don't watch what they say about you, I'm going to make them pay." "Jer," Tom warned, "we can't fight on the station." "Fight?" the other male said, rubbing his hands. "Oh, I am so up for that. There's a private room not far from here." "Jer," Zen one, you don't want to get mixed up in this. "Short name?" "Oh, I definitely want to watch his expression when Weekly's little toy to shred." "Then I don't let my friends be insulted, and they have no idea what I can do to them. Tom, What are the legal dangers of us fighting in a private room? His friend hesitated, looking at the people facing them. The station doesn't intervene in what hap in what hap doesn't intervene in what happens in private unless someone lodges a complaint to the adjudicator. She snorted. The Tal don't go to the authorities. We take care of our troubles ourselves. Tell them to lead the way, Zen. Jer, don't. Trust me, Zen. I can deal with them. His friend sighed and whispered, They aren't who I'm worried about. Then he looked at his relatives. Take us to your humiliation, since you are so insistent on it. And that concludes chapter 48 of The Technician's Fight. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter will be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read this story, it is available on Ream Story. And if you want to listen to it live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. Links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day.